The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Pilate took Jesus and had him scourged, and the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and arrayed him in a purple robe. They came up to him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" and struck him with their hands. Pilate went out again and said to the people, "See, I am bringing him out to you, that you may know that I find no crime in him." So Jesus came out, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to them, "Behold the man!" When the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no crime in him." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today, the Augustinian community of the Basilica de Santo Nino celebrates the feast of Jesus Christ, the Ecce Homo. Lord, this is the people that longs to see your face. Brothers and sisters, how do we describe the face of God? God is an unseen God. And how do you describe the face of God? Because our hearts longs to see the face of God. Well, we say, depends. Depends on the experience that we have. Depends also on the devotions that we have. Since childhood, we were informed, we were formed, we're given catechesis of the faces of God. The different images that we have. We have the Santo Nino, we have the Holy Cross, we have the Ecce Homo, and others. Magdepende lagi, you know? Depende kung muna yung orientation mo, you are devoted to the Santo Nino, your child, your God is childlike. It's like a child. But brothers and sisters, reflecting on the passion narrative of St. John, in the gospel that we have just heard, we see the face of God in the humble supreme being who is willing to sacrifice himself just to save a fallen world. His son, Jesus, emptied himself and took a form of a slave. He is the man, or as Pilate exclaimed, "Ecce Homo." Behold the man. Pope Benedict XVI wrote, I quote, "These words take on a depth of meaning that reaches far beyond that moment of time in time. In Jesus, it is man himself that is manifested. In him is displayed the suffering of all who are subjected to the violence or the distraughted. His suffering mirrors the inhumanity of worldly powers, which so ruthlessly crush the powerless. In him is reflected what we call sin. This is what happens when man turns his back upon God and takes control over the world into his own hands. Unquote. Brothers and sisters, the image of the man shows the brutality of an evil world. The God-man suffered, faced the undeserved agony and pain. But the prophet Isaiah said, "He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that made us whole, and with his stripes we are healed." Brothers and sisters, the man, Jesus' suffering, is a testament that God sees and hears our human conditions. According to Peter, in our second reading, "For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears turn to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against the evildoers." Icce homo. The man is ridiculed by Pilate, humiliated by the people, but his spirit brought him victory over evil and death, for his victory on the cross carries hope and brings to all life. As we continue with this celebration, brothers and sisters, we see different faces of God in the images that we see since childhood and today. But beyond these images, behind all these images, is a God who is very loving, who is so concerned with our human condition. As we continue with this celebration, let us be reminded that God's humility does not change something on his face, but his suffering face reconciles and brings newness to all of us. Please stand.